Kim Philby betrayed his country 317 times. He was a 17-year-old kid, DARKWIRE, real stories from The Wire, living with his grandmother when the FBI first began to suspect him. But when they finally caught up to him, their real target had already slipped through their fingers. How could Kim Philby, the most notorious double agent in history, outsmart them all? Born Harold Adrian Russell Philby in 1912, Kim Philby was destined for espionage. His father, St. John Philby, was a prominent intelligence officer within the British Empire, earning £1,000 a year, a significant salary at the time. The Philby household thrived on intellectual debates and political intrigue, with guests like T. Lawrence and Winston Churchill. Secrets were the family language. Cambridge University, 1930s. Here, Philby solidified his political beliefs and formed pivotal connections, including his recruitment by the KGB in 1934. A brilliant student, he gravitated toward Marxist ideals, a risky allegiance as war loomed. These beliefs would later define his path, influenced by professors like Maurice Daub and economists like Piero Sraffa. After university, Philby joined MI6, the British intelligence service, in 1940, with the help of his father's connections. His charm and intellect propelled him swiftly through the ranks. By the early 1940s, he was head of counterintelligence for Soviet affairs, earning a salary of £600 per year. Unknown to his peers, Philby was already a Soviet asset, recruited by the KGB during his Cambridge years with the codename Stanley. His first major coup was his 1949 appointment as MI6's liaison in Washington, D.C., where he worked closely with CIA officers like James Jesus Angleton and FBI agents like J. Edgar Hoover. Philby accessed top-tier intelligence from both the CIA and the FBI, including Operation Gold, a project to tap Soviet communication lines in Berlin. He became a conduit for secrets, transmitting crucial details to his Soviet handlers, including the names of CIA officers like William Harvey and Frank Wisner. Covert operations, names of undercover agents, all passed through Philby's hands straight to Soviet vaults, earning him £10,000 per year from the KGB. Philby orchestrated betrayals that exposed global operations, including the CIA's plans to overthrow the government of Iran, codenamed Operation Ajax. His actions endangered dozens of CIA officers, including those working on Operation Gold, and cost the CIA $1 million in lost equipment and resources. The CIA and MI6 knew something was amiss, but the extent of the damage eluded them. Trust within the ranks crumbled. Paranoia replaced camaraderie, as agents like James Angleton began to suspect a mole within their ranks. But every empire has its peak. For Philby, it was the early 1950s. Despite mounting evidence, he evaded suspicion. His network was vast, his influence unrivaled. He was the invisible hand, manipulating from behind the curtain, untouchable to the world, as he attended high society parties in Washington, D.C., and vacationed in the Caribbean. Yet even the most intricate webs of deception can unravel with a single thread. That thread was Anatoly Golitsyn, a defector who, in 1961, provided the CIA and MI6 with critical information, including the names of Soviet agents within the CIA, codenamed Operation Elephant. He confirmed long-held suspicions. Philby was the mole. The news rippled through intelligence communities like a shockwave as agents like Jean Vertefeuille began to investigate Philby's activities. The British government summoned Philby to London under the guise of a routine meeting on a rainy day in January 1963. Tension hung in the air as the walls began to close in. They confronted him with the evidence, but Philby, ever the master of his craft, managed a narrow escape, fleeing to the Soviet Union on an Aeroflot flight with the help of his KGB handlers. In 1963, Philby defected to the Soviet Union, leaving chaos in his wake. The CIA and MI6 were left to pick up the pieces, assessing the full extent of the betrayal, which included the loss of over 100 CIA agents and the compromise of numerous operations, including Operation Gold. Meanwhile, Philby lived out his days in Moscow, a decorated hero of the Soviet Union, far from the reach of Western justice, earning a pension of 1,200 rubles per month. The aftermath of Philby's treachery was profound. The CIA launched an exhaustive search for other moles, leading to the eventual capture of Aldrich Ames, another damaging double agent who was arrested on February 24, 1994, and later sentenced to life in prison. The trust between American and British intelligence agencies was irrevocably damaged. Philby, however, remained untouchable until his death in 1988 at the age of 76 from heart failure in his Moscow apartment. Kim Philby died in Moscow, leaving behind a legacy of betrayal that redefined the nature of espionage. His actions not only compromised missions but also cost lives, including those of CIA officers like William Harvey and Frank Wisner. The world of intelligence was forever altered by his hand. Even in death, his shadow looms large, a reminder of the delicate balance between trust and treachery. He was the spy who betrayed spies. But in the end, it was his own life that was consumed by lies, as he lived out his days in Moscow, a stranger in a strange land, haunted by the ghosts of his past. But here's where it gets worse. The trial of another infamous double agent, Aldrich Ames, unveiled the depth of Philby's influence. During the proceedings in 1994, Ames admitted to the same ideological motivations Philby had, a belief in Soviet communism. This ideology drove Ames to reveal the identities of over 10 CIA officers to the Soviets, mirroring Philby's earlier betrayals, and earning him $2.5 million from the KGB. The courtroom buzzed with whispers as Ames detailed the chilling efficiency with which he had passed information to the KGB, often over casual dinners in European capitals, including Paris and Rome. His arrest in 1994 came after nearly a decade of surveillance by the CIA and FBI, who employed tactics reminiscent of the Cold War era, including wiretaps and surveillance by agents like John Vertifoy. Among the agents spearheading the operation was Jan Vertifoy, a seasoned CIA officer whose relentless pursuit of Ames mirrored the dogged investigations of Philby decades earlier. Vertifoy's team had meticulously gathered evidence, employing wiretaps and sifting through financial records that revealed Ames's inexplicable wealth. Luxury cars, an opulent home, vacations that far exceeded his government salary of $60,000 per year. The arrest of Ames was a significant victory for Western intelligence, but the scars of Philby's betrayal ran deep. The internal reviews in both MI6 and the CIA exposed vulnerabilities that had been exploited by double agents like Philby and Ames. The agencies scrambled to implement stricter security measures, including more rigorous background checks and enhanced surveillance protocols, to prevent future betrayals. Philby's legacy continued to haunt the intelligence community. His defection had not only compromised countless missions, but had also ignited a wave of paranoia that lingered for decades. Every operation was viewed with suspicion, and every agent faced scrutiny, as the CIA and MI6 struggled to rebuild trust and prevent future betrayals. Even as the Cold War thawed, the echoes of Philby's deception influenced new generations of spies. Training programs began to emphasize the importance of loyalty and integrity, using Philby's story as a cautionary tale of betrayal and its far-reaching consequences, as agents learned from the mistakes of the past. Kim Philby may have died in Moscow, but his story lived on, a stark reminder of the shadows that lurked within the clandestine world of espionage. His actions not only altered the course of history, but also served as a chilling warning of the delicate balance between trust and treachery, as the intelligence community continued to grapple with the consequences of his betrayal.